In hour 17, I try something that is not easy for me, which is combine two tragedies so that we can get through the Oresteia trilogy in 2 hours. And the first of these two tragedies, the Libation Bearers, involves a practice that is very unfamiliar to most moderns, which is pouring libations. And that is why I'm so happy that I've already collected some interviews with people whose native land is equatorial Africa or thereabouts, because in that part of the world, libations are part of life, and almost every day there is an occasion for some form of libation. What do I mean by libation? It's a ritual pouring of a liquid or a sequence of liquids and corresponding thoughts, sacred thoughts, or even words, sacred words. That's what a libation is. When we look at the second of the three tragedies of the Oresteia, the Libation Bearers, you have the young princess, Electra, asking the chorus, who represent the women of the city, to teach her, Electra, how to pour libations and perform the libation ritual correctly to honor her father. Now, she's honoring her father as an ancestor, and you say, all right, in some ways this is ancestor worship. But in other ways, when we start understanding that hero cult is a stylized form of ancestor worship, we realize that what's also going on here is a kind of prototype of hero cult. I hope you're not shocked that Agamemnon, of whom we don't approve morally, is a cult hero. In fact, he was a cult hero at Argos. We know that for a historical fact. We've seen already in so many ways that heroes are not morally perfect. They're larger than life, and when they do something good, they're larger than life in that. But when they do something bad, I hate to say it, but they're larger than life in that as well. And in the case of Agamemnon, we're so aware of the bad things that he did and how he is inferior to Achilles that sometimes we don't think of him as a hero, but frankly he is. And he is even a cult hero. And so here, in the Libation Bearers, what you have is the beginnings of hero cult. And the beginnings happen when a young girl is trying to figure out how to venerate her ancestor, her immediate ancestor, her father. And if I can now go to the Eumenides, which is the third of the three tragedies of the Oresteia trilogy. In this case, Eumenides is a euphemism for Erinyes, which we translate as Furies. It's a positive way of thinking about the restless, angry spirits of the dead who can punish the evil as well as reward the good. And in a way, the Eumenides of Aeschylus is a perfect exercise in a synthesis of values. Hegel, or more accurately, the students of Hegel, considered the Eumenides an exercise in synthesis. And if I may use the Hegelian terms, you have thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Synthesis is what you get in the Eumenides. I find it particularly interesting that the kind of anger that is represented by the Furies, the Erinyes, who in the course of the drama become acculturated into the Eumenides, they who have goodwill, the kind of anger that these Furies have is analogous to the anger of a cult hero when the cult hero is upset about something that is going on in the everyday world. And when a cult hero gets upset about something that happens in the here and now, they'll come and visit the world of the living, and that is not necessarily a good experience. In fact, if you're unjust, it's a very bad experience. The French have a word for this kind of visit from the world of the dead when a hero is angry. They call the visitor a revenant, the one who comes back. So that's what the Furies are all about. We can understand them better when we understand the hero in the malignant mode as opposed to the benign mode. And when a hero is angry, there is hell to pay. I'm not just playing with words. And the marvel of the Eumenides of Aeschylus is that in the end, the blood feuds, let's use the Italian word vendetta, the blood feuds that go on and on in a chain of evil are finally brought to an end by the intervention of the goddess Athena, who is the embodiment of the civilization of Athens, a civilization that considers itself the ideal city-state. So what you have in hour 17, by the time you're finished reading the Libation Bearers and then the Eumenides, is a progression that started already in hour 16 when we looked at the Agamemnon. And in this progression, as we go from the Agamemnon to the Libation Bearers to the Eumenides, you see a stabilization of civilization itself. In fact, you see the very foundation of civilization, and it all happens by way of harnessing the negative energies of the hero when the hero wants vengeance after death, and synthesizing the hero's need for decay as a way of achieving a new kind of decay, which does not belong to the world of heroes, which is understood to be a world before the city-state, but to modulate into the world of the present, which is the world of the city-state, the polis, which is, after all, the word that gives us political and politics and everything that has to do with what Aristotle thinks is the way humanity achieves its maximum potential. Civilization, that's what is achieved in the course of the myth-making that Aeschylus has given us in the Oresteia trilogy. And that's what I hope we will get by reading the 3 tragedies and by closely reading the texts that I give you for close reading in hours 16 and 17.